Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Captain Jim Palmer, the Dream Business Coach here. Happy Friday to you. Hope it's a great day where you are. It's beautiful and sunny here in Florida. And so anyway, as I announced my little post this morning, I wanted to share a couple thoughts with you about being a small business owner and an entrepreneur and sometimes the difficult situations that we have to face. There's a lot of anxiety about what's happening these days, with the coronavirus, the impact on the economy. It looks like the stock market is like cratering. And so things might even be happening closer to your home, and you're wondering how it's going to impact your business and business in general. And I'm certainly not here to debate the current level of hysteria, whether it's warranted or not warranted, but for better or worse, there are some who are completely panicked about this. And again, I'm not a scientist, a doctor. I'm certainly not a highly degreed economist. I think you know that. But this morning, I was chatting with somebody very close to me, and they said, you've been through a number of different scenarios like this, economic challenges, 3 of them actually. And this person knows me to be pretty much an eternal optimist and one who believes there is an answer to every problem. And if you're open-minded, sometimes there's an opportunity in every situation. And this person said, why don't you go on and share some of what you learned by weathering, a few different crises or, situations in your life? My first reaction was, you know what, there's enough people professing to be experts crowding the airwaves on social media. But then I was reminded that it's not only what I preach, is putting yourself out there and sharing some of your experience to better others. But anyway, that's why I'm here. So I'm going to jump right into it. I have no idea how long this is going to go, but I got a few thoughts that I want to share. So the first economic downturn, when I was 21 years old, I became manager of a bike shop. And this was during the time in 1979 was referred to as kind of the Carter recession, or maybe we're starting to come out of the Carter recession. And, there was this term malaise. There was high unemployment, double-digit interest rates, inflation out the wazoo. There was a huge it was just very, very dismal. I remember there were gas lines, right? All these different things that were happening. And the customer traffic into the bike shop was just drying up. And we was like a $300,000 a year business. So we didn't have a huge bucket of money to be marketing to bring things up. Yet as manager, a good portion of my salary was based on the profits of the business. So I was bound and determined to grow the business. And so a light bulb moment for me, and it's interesting that this light bulb moment at 21 then led to my first business at 41. But I realized that this business had a great asset. And it was an asset that it wasn't being maximized. And that asset was the approximately 1,200 customers that we had in the business, right? There was 1,200 people that had bought bicycles in the years that this store was open. And folks, here's the deal. If you want to sell more of your goods and services, which I assume you do, because why else would you be in business? You want to turn to the first group of people you want to turn to are the people that have already said, hey, I'm a customer because I gave you money, right? These are proven buyers. So many people are like, well, where do I get new customers? Oh my gosh, our business is shrinking. We got to get new customers, but I don't have marketing. Why don't you just turn around and look behind you and look at all the people that you've already served? First thing I did in 1979, I created a very homemade, on a typewriter, this is pre-computer, ugly 2-page black and white newsletter, and we mailed that out to 1,200 of our customers. And you know what happened in the middle of all these businesses that were shrinking? Our parking lot started to fill up. We had customers coming in. Hey, good to see you again. I didn't know you carried this, blah, 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 blah. And things kind of took off. And I, as a smart marketer, what do you do when something works? Well, you do it again. So I started mailing another newsletter and another newsletter. Of course, if you know my story, when in my first business, when I became an entrepreneur in 2001, as I started a business creating newsletters. Anyway, so that was kind of revelation number 1. It starts, and it's never too late. Believe me, you should be doing this anyway, but it's never too late to shift your thinking from always being in new customer acquisition mode to an actual customer retention strategy, proactively engaging and keeping your customers longer. Customers that stay longer end up spending more, and they end up referring more. So my question for you on this hopefully first revelation, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's the only one, is when is the last time you reached out to your current or past customers with something other than an invoice or a statement? That's number one. The second thing I did was position this bike shop to have the reputation and in the community as the absolute best place to buy a bike, not because of the brands we sold, because honestly, the brands we sold were not as well as some of the other stores around us that had some of the bigger names, Schwinn, Raleigh, eventually Trek Specialized, but we didn't have any of those. This is a very, very short thing here because I could teach for an hour on this, but I branded and positioned this store to be the premier bike shop in the Delaware Valley, which is where I used to live. And we would actually, after about a year or so of getting this message and crafting the marketing, and we did certain things, I would actually have customers coming in the store. Hey, I don't know what bike I'm going to buy, but I know I want to buy it here. And I'm like, oh my God, that is so powerful when you have that kind of reputation. So again, it's never too late to start. So question number 2 is this: do you and your business have the reputation of being the best, the only choice, the number one person to go to, the number one business to go to when you want X, Y, or Z? Or are you still a commodity? Are you still fighting it out with everybody else? Because I'm telling you, the right brand, the right positioning and marketing, it's a difference maker, okay? The second crisis that I faced as a businessman, not yet as an entrepreneur, was in 2001. Well, actually, this led to me becoming an entrepreneur. So I lost my job in July of 2000. I was unemployed for almost a year and a half. At 12 months into my long-term unemployment is when I first got cancer. But long story short, in October 2001, I started my first business. It was called Dynamic Communication. Horrible name, I know. Dynamic Communication, and I was writing, designing newsletters for local companies. That was my goal. My entire first year was revenue free. Means it took me a year to get my first client. But the one thing I did not do, which is what I don't want you to do now, is I didn't bury my head. I didn't have a pity party. Well, yeah, I probably did, but it wasn't a big one and it didn't last long, okay? But I kept going because it was inconceivable to me to believe that I could not find 10, 15, or 20 local business owners in the Philadelphia area who could not benefit from a customer newsletter. So that piece of information, the fact that I knew what I was doing, I was good at it, and coupled with the fact that I had 4 hungry teenagers at home to feed, that kept me going. And honestly, in both of these situations, I never felt the need to fall back on, oh, the economy sucks. Oh, the president sucks. Congress blows. I never had any of those local excuses or national excuses. If I was only taller, more handsome, if I had better hair, if my parents were wealthier, if I just win the lottery, none of that. I always felt that it was, and I guess I give my parents credit for this, it was always my responsibility to create success for myself. It's not nobody else, right? And so the other thing, which I'll just swerve a little bit into my faith here, my faith life, I always knew in my darkest day, like, I don't know if it was the 8th month when I'm like, oh my God, it's been 8 months. I've knocked on X number of doors, phone calls. I go to Chamber of Commerce. I'm doing everything I can do, and I haven't made a dime yet, right? In those darkest days, I would remember someday I'm going to meet God, and he's going to say, geez, Jim, what made you think it was going to be easy? And that got me up the very next day to do another thing. So another lesson, if you're facing some hard times, or even if you think you're about to face some hard times because of the hysteria, is simply do your best to ignore the external factors as much as possible and play your own game. Ignoring the external factors is for a very good reason, because you can't do jack about them. There's nothing you can do about the external factors. If your customers or clients are not buying what you're offering, then change what you're offering, change the model, change the pricing, or find a different group of customers to sell to. What I want you to do, basically, I want you to create your own economy, right? And the third crisis that I faced, and so this is the third, this would be the second large economic crisis, all right, that the country faced that I was part of anyway, was in 2008. So many entrepreneurs in 2008, when the whole real estate bubble and everything kind of crashed, the recession of 2008, I don't know what they call it today. Many entrepreneurs I knew started pulling in their horns. They hunkered down, cutting expenses. We're just going to wait this out. I mean, I've got some good plans. I've got a good program, but I'm not going to announce it now. We're not going to roll it out now. We're cutting back our pay-per-click. We're not going to do this, that, and other thing. Well, you know what I did in 2008? I created 3 online businesses. And then in 2009, I launched my Dream Business Mastermind. That's when I started coaching 10 years ago. No, 11 years ago now, 2020. So look, it's always hard to find ways to rise above the noise and get noticed when things are good, when revenue's pouring in. That's when people are saying, I can't rise above the noise. Everybody's spending money. Everybody's doing it. Well, guess what? If there is a benefit to an economic downturn, it's this. There's going to be many, many entrepreneurs who are going to pull their horns and who are going to ride down and hunker down. They're going to stop marketing. I'm not going to do any more pay-per-click. I'm not going to do Facebook challenges because that takes money to get an audience. They're going to not do that stuff. If you have the cojones and the courage to create a successful business, this is your opportunity to stand up and say, look, here I am, because everybody else is sitting down. All right. I realize it takes courage to do that, but you know what? It takes a lot of courage to build a successful business. It takes almost no courage to start a business and just be average. All right. So I want to share with you some of the incredible wisdom that my greatest mentor, Dan Kennedy, shared. He said, look, money is always flowing. In any economy, money always flows towards value. So what you want to do is position yourself as a provider of great value. And if you do that, you are going to survive the downturns, and you'll be well positioned to ride out the inevitable upswings that are going to come. While most of your competitors, again, are hunkered down, they're going to be playing catch up, right? So anyway, I want you to the best of your ability, summon the courage to keep going. If you have to innovate or adapt, I know there's a lot of people right now that are having to change the way they do business because of flights and events, and some, big groups of people things are being canceled. There's nothing you can do about that. But what can you do right now to kind of fill that hole? All right. The second thing I heard Dan Kennedy say, and it had a huge impact on me, he said, when times are good, anybody can do well. He goes, there was a time when money was rolling in so fast. I think it was, in the early 90s, it was the tech bubble. Okay. Before it became the tech bubble, he says, and I'm paraphrasing because I've heard Dan speak so many times, said, there are people who could throw a dollar bill at the curb and it would turn into a 50, pick it up and go, look how smart I am. He says, everybody was doing business and going, man, I'm great at sales. I'm great at marketing. But then when the economy went down, it went away, right? So when times are tough, depending on your business model, what many people need is a savior. And Dan said that word. I go, oh, that's an odd word, but I thought it was very interesting, because if you think about it, if you have the answer, the cure, the remedy, if you have the whatever it is that your customers are looking for that's going to help them do better, go faster, feel better, whatever it is that you do in your business, if you're the provider of that cure, remedy, answer, whatever, you are going to have a business even in the tough times. Now, it was a real head scratcher for me when I first heard it, but it does make great sense. And you know why? I don't remember the exact time I heard it, but that gave me great impetus to start my coaching program in 2009 when things weren't great. And I thought, you know what? If I've got a lot of experience, which I did, years of experience before I became an entrepreneur. And then at the point in 2009, I already created like 4 different businesses. I'm doing pretty well. I've got some things to share. I'm pretty good at marketing, branding. So let me open up the business. Well, I did launch to great fanfare and whatever promotion I could put together. You know what? I had 6 people. I've coached hundreds of people today, but I got started, and it was during the last economic downturn. All right. A couple more thoughts for you. Big breakthroughs. And sometimes the best ideas come when our backs are against the wall, right? So again, instead of the pity party, oh, woe is me, what do I do now? How do I turn this around? Like I said, money is always flowing. It flows towards value. And the other thing it flows is to status. Those businesses that provide good value will always be in demand. But when people, AKA your consumers, customers, clients, patients, whatever business you're in, whether you're in the B2B market or a business to consumer market, the decision makers are drawn to status. They're going to be attracted to value, but they're going to be drawn to status. Who has the best reputation for delivering value? Who is projecting hope and certainty, not doom and gloom? This doesn't mean you have to innovate or adapt and just completely change your business model. I know people today who are speakers and they're having some of their gigs canceled. A number of events are canceled. You saw Ryan Dice's event, which is supposed to be, I think, in 3 weeks in San Diego. That's now going to be in fall. It's a shame. It's not going to be a business killer for him. I guarantee that. He's super smart. But he's going to have to change course, right? I'm rolling out. Here's what I'm doing. I came out with a 6-month plan. By the way, I think this thing will be long over in 6 months. It'll be a distant memory. That's just my uneducated opinion. But I've just laid out a plan for 6 months. I'm creating 3 new online training programs. I'm doing a survey right now, which is helping me because I kind of know what people need, but I want to hear what they say they want, what they need. So I'm going to help formulate. But I've got 3 programs that I'm going to be announcing very soon. I have another Dream Business Academy live event scheduled for early June, but being a live event, if everything's still going haywire in 2 months, I might push that off. The hotel said, yeah, if it's still going, we're not going to hold you to your contract, and I'll just push it off. But at least I got the date out there. But I'm going to do online training, jump in my camera like I'm doing now, put on a clean shirt, and I'm going to teach some amazing stuff to entrepreneurs who can learn from the comfort of their own home. That's all happening in the next 6 months. A couple more thoughts before I close. All right. I'm always preaching multiple streams of revenue, right? It's one of the things I teach, multiple streams of revenue. And if you only have one and that's now being impacted a little bit, you're going to have to find a way to innovate, overcome, and adapt, as they say in that great movie with Clint Eastwood. But you want to move your business to have multiple streams of revenue because not every revenue stream is likely to be impacted when we go through different things. So if you don't have it today, start today. And how can you have multiple streams of revenue? It's something you want to move toward. Number 2, focus on your greatest asset, which is the relationships that you have with your current customers and your past customers. The greatest expense you have as a business owner is attracting new customers. So why in the world, why in God's name do you take that brand new customer who became a customer by way of what? A single transaction, and then say, hey, great, thanks for coming. I hope you enjoy it. And then you kind of go off and where's my next new one? Why don't you figure out all the other ways your current offerings can satisfy this new customer? You've overcome the know, like, and trust hurdle because they gave you money. Sell them more stuff. That's your greatest asset. Start focusing on that. Protect your image and your reputation because that, again, is a huge asset for you. What your customers want more than anything, no matter what you sell, are 2 things, as I said earlier. They want hope and certainty. If you're on social media right now screaming, this sucks, if you're one of the millions of people showing pictures of the grocery store or the big box store, and you're showing an empty shelf where toilet paper used to be, what is that doing for your business, right? These might be your own personal feelings or frustrations, but I suggest to you, this does not project hope and confidence. I firmly believe that you cannot have a personal presence online. Oh, that's my personal page or my profile page. And then you have your LinkedIn and you have your business page. They are one and the same. People see it all. Stop going off like that unless it's really what you want to do. But I guarantee people who are thinking of doing business with you, they're seeing all that. And if that doesn't project confidence, hope, and certainty, and at least a steady Eddie kind of keel, so to speak, it's not going to serve you well. So anyway, couple last things here, and I'm gonna close because I really don't want to go into this. But listen, I know you know this, but media is a profit-driven enterprise. The more you watch, the more they make. That's just the way the system works. If every news program opened up with, my gosh, the great news is the number of people who die is like 1 or 2%. People are getting better. Even if you get it, it feels a little bit like the flu. You got a very low fee. They're not saying anything about if there is what's good about it. All they do is, oh my God, there's another case in North Carolina, right? And it's like every potential snowstorm that might come up the East Coast is snowmageddon. And as a boater now, we watch hurricane forecasts, and God forbid there's a rain shower with a piece of lightning off the coast of Africa. This could be the one that wipes out half the United States, right? Folks, this too shall pass, all right? Turn off the news, stay in your zone, keep providing incredible value, keep being the positive person who's got courage and cojones to stay above the noise, and keep focused on the customers you have, because customers, again, that stay with you longer, they're going to refer more and they're going to spend more. That's going to help you get out. Again, I think this will pass. It's my sincere and, as I said, uneducated opinion. It's going to pass sooner rather than later. The fundamentals of our economy, I believe, are super strong. Once the uncertainty and the apparent, I believe, hysteria and noise die down, I bet the stock market's going to come roaring back. It's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow or next week, but it's going to come back. So while the next few weeks or maybe a month or so plays itself out, I want to encourage you, stay in contact with your customers, keep innovating, keep finding ways. Everything is a problem that can be solved. There's opportunities. Just be positive. Do it in a positive and confident way. That's going to attract new business. All right. Go wash your hands. Go grow your dream business so you too can live your dream lifestyle. Feel free to reach out to me if I can help you. If you have questions about the Dream Business Mastermind or just working with me privately, reach out on Facebook, shoot me a message. But until the next time we get together, I just wanted to hope that was helpful to you. I'm Captain Jim Palmer, and I am the Dream Business Coach. You take good care.